Hey everybody, it's Maggie from Personal Euphoria with today's plank story. If you don't want to plank, you're going to do a side bend. You can do this sitting or standing, but you're going to reach side to side. You could also reach sideways, rotate your palm up and reach upward, only if that feels good, right? All right. So my plank story today is about grieving. Some of you know my father passed away in November, and I laughed at myself when I saw the stack of books on my nightstand because they all had a similar theme. So I started with wintering, then I went to It's Okay That You're Not Okay, which my good friend Sujata gave me, which was really helpful. And what I'm working on now is the grieving brain, which is I think my favorite so far because it gives me a little, the other two, it was more like, oh, relating to people. This gives me a little more understanding of how my brain works because I imagine you experienced this if you've lost someone. You lose someone significant, you know that. Like you don't forget. However, you have these moments where you feel surprised, as if you didn't know, and then it's awkward because you know. And and when that happens, that's not happening to me anymore. It was happening very early on after my dad passed away. But what I found was I didn't think I was crazy because I've lost people before and I've had that experience, and because everybody talks about it. But I more was like, I have one brain. Why do I feel like two different people? The person who knows my dad died and the person who doesn't. Like, why? Where is this disconnect? Because this isn't something I would forget. And so Mary Frances O'Connor explains in The Grieving Brain that basically they've done neurological studies and fMRIs, and they understand that as humans, our world is mapped out for us. So the example she gives is, you know where your refrigerator is. You don't have to think, like, I come down my stairs, I see a door, I take a left, I go past two windows, I go through another door, and then I take a right after that door. We don't have to think that. It doesn't matter where we are in our house. We don't need visual cues. We can get to our refrigerator because our brain has mapped our world. And she said that that's true of significant people in our life too. We have an anticipation. Our brain has mapped them into our world. We know when we're supposed to see them. We know what activities we do with them. And we expect them to be there. And so while the brain does know this person has died because it's a significant event, the brain has to unlearn its mapping and remap our world without them. And that, she said, the brain learns from doing. So it has to have experiences where it goes, oh, so-and-so would normally be here. Oh, they're not. And then remember that. And that it doesn't take one or two, that it can take time for that remapping to happen. And I don't know why, if that makes understanding it makes me feel better. I also find it really touching to think like my dad was mapped into my brain, and that it has to like change and relearn. So instead of feeling like, what's happening, then I understand it, I feel better. I would say, in fairness, there's part of me that goes, well, if I moved my refrigerator, I might once go back to the old spot, but I'm going to learn pretty quickly where my new refrigerator is because I love food. So I would think like the death of someone, the brain would learn it faster. But then I also think on the other end of that, Matt and I did an addition, and it's been done over a year. And when we've gone on vacation where we're gone like 2 weeks, when I walk back in the house, every time I've said to Matt, oh, I forgot this is what our house looked like. In my head, I still think of the house we lived in for 15 years and what it looked like. So my brain is clearly working to relive that. But I have never gone to where my refrigerator was before. I did learn that right away. Anyway, it's interesting. I found the books helpful. If that little tidbit is helpful to you, I hope so. I do worry in saying this plank story, people would think I'm terribly sad. And there are moments where I am, but there's also moments where life is good, you know? I think, it's just normal. It takes time. It takes time. All right. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day and keep moving.